Yesterday there was a big announcement with the reveal of the brand new critical Sentinel triggers. But that wasn't the only highlight of the day, as we also got some exciting new Gear Chronicle cards. And that's what we're tackling in today's Road to Nextage. Stand up! Vanguard! Hey Cardfighters, you might have already been up to date with the latest development, as yesterday we got a brand new update to Cardfight Vanguard, as we've got a brand new type of card, the Sentinel crit triggers. And I went over these cards in the yesterday's Cardfight update, but that wasn't the only reveals that we got that day, as in the morning we got the reveal of 3 brand new Gear Chronicle cards, with the leading front of with a familiar face that is our beloved Steam Maiden Melem. And with her brings in a unique batch of new cards for Gear Chronicle, which are containing in their own little interesting engine, which is sparking up some controversy within the Gear Chronicle population. So in this Road to Nextage, we're gonna go over these brand new cards for Gear Chronicle and discuss what this will mean for our gears and what it can potentially mean for the future, as there are some interesting parallels that are happening here, what has happened in the past. And past, present, and future is Gear Chronicle's expertise, so let's jump right into it. And we start off, of course, with the skill reveals, and why not start off with our beloved card Melem herself, as here we have the brand new Steam Maiden Melem. And her ability is Auto Rigor Circle. When it attacks, costs Counterblast 1, look at the 7 cards from the top of your deck, call up to 1 Upclutch Dragon or Upstream Dragon from among them to the Rigor Circle as rest. Shuffle your deck, and if you have Upclutch Dragon and Upstream Dragon on your Vanguard Circle or Vanguard Circle, stand the called unit. So what this new Melem can do is, on attack for the cost of a Counterblast, search out either the grade 3 or the grade 2 counterpart of this trio and call it to rest on wherever part of the field you want to. And if you have all 3 on the field, no matter if it's Vanguard Circle or Vanguard Circle, then you can stand the called unit. And for anybody that's asking of what is Upstream Dragon or Upclutch Dragon, well, here you can see their counterpart, but as you can basically see, these cards have the exact same skill, only the difference is which card you can call out, as they all can call out the 2 other cards of the trio. So not themselves, but the other 2. So Melem can call out Upstream and Upclutch, Upstream can call out Melem and Upclutch, and Upclutch Dragon can call out Upstream Dragon and Steam Maiden Melem. The only difference is between these 3 cards is that they all work on a Vanguard Circle, but Upclutch Dragon also works as a Vanguard unit, so on attack on the Vanguard Circle it will also activate its ability. So these 3 cards in their own respective engine are basically a multi-attack engine for Gear Chronicle. And obviously Upclutch Dragon is supposed to be on the Vanguard Circle, so you have the most potential use out of it, as you can call a Melem to the left front row circle and a Upstream to the right front row circle, and this way you can multi-attack with these units. And for a Counterblast, 1 extra attack, that's actually pretty efficient, and within a Force Clan that's pretty good to have an extendable multi-attack potential for Force Clan in general, because they don't tend to multi-attack on a significant base. And with Upclutch Dragon also having the gift marker means this is actual synergizing with Force as in a generic sense. Now the engine itself isn't super consistent, as you can only check the top 7, but with potential 6 to 8 targets per attack, that is actually pretty good odds on overall, so it's not that bad to see that it can actually hit. Now the actual downside of this specific engine is that if you actually want to multi-attack, you need to have multiple copies of a specific card, because if you have a Melem in the left front row circle and a Upstream on the right circle, and you have of course Upclutch Dragon as your Vanguard, if you attack with Upstream and you want to call another Melem or Upclutch Dragon to the other circle to attack, to get an extra attack off, you are calling it on top of the Melem, and within Vanguard's ruling, you first need to retire the Melem before you can resolve the rest of the ability. Meaning, when you check if you have all 3 onto the field, you no longer fulfill that condition, and the unit that's now called rested won't stand. So that means you need to have at least 1 extra copy in the back row to make it useful. Now, with Melem being a grade 1, that's not really a big deal, as it can also be a booster. But with Upstream, that is a little bit more tricky to do. And this is the reason why you want to have Upclutch Dragon as your Vanguard unit, meaning at least one of the three won't be a problem within this issue, as one will always be on the Vanguard circle, no problem. Now, you can circumvent this by having a Melem and an Upstream in the back row and another copy in the front row. That could do, but it will lower the chances of actually hitting one of the other cards with this multi-attack engine. Well, with that said, that is if you want to go in the pseudo-infinite style, where you can keep going every single counterblast for an extra attack. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case with these cards, as you can also see it as just a single extra attack. And that is actually pretty fine, which it will mean that you will have 4 attacks in the Force Clan, which is pretty okay, as you can have a Melem in the back row, a Upstream in the front row, and Upclutch Dragon as your Vanguard unit, and then attack with a unit in one of the columns in front of Melem, and that can be something like Steam Engineer Naboo that will then make itself disappear, so you're not minusing on yourself, and then attack with Upstream, call either a Melem or an Upclutch Dragon on the other side of the field, and then you can attack with the column. And you could resolve the ability again, and if you're lucky and you see an Upstream, you can call an Upstream on top of Upstream and still generate yet again another attack, as it then can reset itself. So there's an RNG element to it, but you can shrink it down a size to not go for the extreme endless combos and just say, I will be fine with just adding 1 extra attack to my force numbers, which in itself is actually pretty damn solid. Now, the overall thing about this engine is that it costs counterblast, and actually in Gear Chronicle, that's pretty good, as most of Gear Chronicle cards rely on soul, meaning you can easily splash this in any type of build. And Chronojet Dragon, besides Chronojet Dragon himself, doesn't really use any counterblast whatsoever. You can say Chrono Fang or Rebellion will throw everything face down, so you cannot combine it with that. It could combine in some regards with the Mystery Flare bind strategy, but you want to use as many bind cards as possible, or at least cards that allow you to do that on the most consistent basis, so you might not have the room to run into these cards. Chronojet Dragon actually could potentially have the room to play these cards, as we still have room for a potential grade 2 spot and a grade 1 spot, and then you want to try to fit in the grade 3 unit. But that is where we run into a problem here within Standard, as Gear Chronicle is focusing around these main grade 4s in deck, meaning the amount of grade 4s and grade 3 spots in your deck list are very scarce and limited, meaning you might not actually have the room to run at least 2 to 4 copies of Upclutch Dragon to up the consistency of this engine. So you might actually run into a problem on that front. But if you can manage to squeeze them in, then you could have a plus engine on our hands. Also, another thing about this is that it doesn't necessarily needs to be a multi-tech engine. It can also be as a plus engine. So if you went first or second or whatever, you can basically call a Melem to the rearguard circle and attack with it, and if you have the counterblast, you can potentially call out these grade 2s or grade 3s a turn earlier to populate the field for your following turns. And if you so happen to have the other cards onto the board, you can potentially get an extra multi-attack off. This also allows you to multi-attack without wasting actual cards from hand. So if it's your grade 2 turn, you can ride Upstream, you can call Melem, attack with the Melem, counterblast 1, and if you manage to hit the grade 3 in your top 7, you actually get 3 attacks, but it will only cost you 1 card from hand. That's also a way that you can help using this engine for your overall game strategy. Also, it filters your deck, so it allows you to hit your triggers on a more consistent basis, which for something like Chronojet Dragon is very important, as you want to hit those also important critical triggers once you attack with your Chronojet Dragon with the guard restrict after your next stage attack is done. And in Premium, it's even more interesting, as you can combine this somewhat with a Time Leap engine, as the Time Leap engine with History Build Dragon as a stride could basically reset the board and get you the correct pieces of the grade 2, the grade 1, or the grade 3 on the board, so you can then extend within their combos. And with something like Tick Away within the extension of Time Leap, you can shuffle all the copies of Melem, Upstream, and Upclutch Dragon back into your deck, so you're basically 100% guaranteed to hit your next following attack once you resolve one of those abilities. And it also synergizes much better within Premium, as you can ride Upclutch Dragon, and all your strides will attain the Upclutch Dragon name, making it easier to attain all freedoms onto the board. As in Standard, once you're going into something like Chronojet Dragon or Chrono Fang, it's much harder to attain that, as you then also need to call the grade 3 to the rearguard circle to fulfill the all of names condition if you want to achieve the multi-attacks as well. Also, an issue within these cards on the service level is that they don't provide a lot of power. They're just 8k, 10k, and 13k. So they're just generic attacks. But then again, with 1 or 2 force markers onto the rigger circle and you start multi-attacking, then it's a different story, just like how Time Leap could be much different within 1 or 2 force markers. And there might be something interesting in Premium when you start meshing them up with their G-era counterpart. So you could maybe use the Upstream to search out the G-era Melem, or you can use the Melem to search out the G-era Upstream. There could be something in there. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be viable, but it's, in my opinion, too early to deduce. Because as you might have understand from this tone of the video, I'm not super overhyped right out of the bat, because there are some obvious problems within these cards for Gear Chronicle right now, and they could be very solid because they are a filter tool. They are superior calls, so they're a plus engine, and they could potentially be a multi-tech engine, which in themselves is actually pretty damn strong, especially for resources that we're not really actively using for something like Chronojet Dragon. So in itself could be a really good fit. But once you start looking at them and how you actually want to use them, you start to realize they might not be as ideal in most situations as just a generic card. But then I want to remind you guys at the past, because everybody starts immediately comparing this Melem and Upstream with their G-era counterpart, how powerful they were during the G-era with Time Leap. But before you do that, go to the old original page on the Wikia and start scrolling down in the comment section, all the way down to the first comments once those cards were released and revealed. And you start seeing a pattern. Because at the time these cards were revealed, everybody was saying the exact same thing as people are saying right now. Oh, these cards aren't really that good. Oh, what can I do with them? What is a really awkward skill? Upstream, okay, I can make a 21k column with an 8k vanilla. In a GR, mind you, 8k is not really that great. Yeah, that could be really good. Or I can use Upstream to call out a Gigi to have a potential free draw. Oh, nice, Melem. Oh, yeah, interesting. I can call out the Great Zero. Or I can call out a Hard Thumb Worker for the extra draw once my Vanguard attacked. That's what people said at the optimistic side of these cards. Nobody was talking about Time Leap. Granted, Upstream Dragon was released before Time Leap was a thing. But Melem was in the same set as TikTok Worker, Uratar, and Metallica Phoenix. Yeah, people didn't caught on what the cards actually could do. And I'm honestly thinking that there could actually be the same case with these cards. There could be a hidden combo that is insane that we're not seeing right now. And I got the best people working on these cards right now, so you bet your ass if there is something to be found, we will surely find it. But there's another interesting thing, an important thing that I want to bring to light. This could be absolutely nothing, or this could mean everything. If you also go back to the Wikia page and you check the set cards for the Nextage booster set and you scroll down to the commons cards, you notice that we still got some cards left to be revealed. Of course, we need a triple R, but that's Steam Maiden Dragon, so we already know what that's potentially gonna do. And there is a rare, but that's actually gonna be the Lion Strike that was leaked in the magazine, and that's not really gonna do anything for us. But although it could search out a grade 3 and call top card, so it could help with the consistency of this strategy to some extent. But that's not what we're talking about. There are still 2 commons left that are either grade 1 or grade 0s. And there aren't going to be trigger reprints. There are 0 reprints in this set. So they're going to be brand new cards. Grade 1 or grade 0. And if you rewind back to this video a couple of minutes ago, or like 2 minutes ago when I just said something about Time Leap, TikTok Worker and Uratar are yet to be reintroduced. Granted, Uratar was a stand trigger, but TikTok Worker was a generic grade 0. These cards might come back, and there is a chance that they interact with this engine, and they actually make it insane. Because I don't believe the Bushrod will bring back a card like Melem and not actually make it useful for a deck like Chronojet Dragon, because it was originally made for that build, same as with Upstream Dragon. And the fact that they did it again, where Upstream Dragon and Melem have almost the exact same skill as the old counterparts had basically the exact same skill on attack, give it plus 4k, and at the end of the turn, call a rested grade lower version of the card and put it back to deck. These cards are yet again have the exact same skill. So I'm seeing a pattern here. We got the exact same skill for Melem and Upstream. The community is reacting the exact same way. And then Bushiroad is gonna reveal an insane drop that will make these cards insane. Will be this set? Maybe not. Will be the next set? Potentially. Or will we, as Gear Chronicle players, figure it out for ourselves and break the clan once again? Either way, it's an exciting time to be alive, because honestly, I'd rather have an interesting skill that needs us as players to think about something interesting and then make it work, than have a generic skill or a easy to figure out combo that basically tells to us, you need to do this, this, and then this, and win the game. I rather want to have something interesting, challenging, and then players are unprepared or not expecting an insane combo that suddenly comes out of nowhere, like what happened with Time Leap at the time. But that's basically everything for today. Let me know in the comments down below your opinion about the new Melem and Upstream cards. I can understand if you're a little bit disappointed about the potential of these cards, but then I want to address, keep in mind, players back in the day when the original Melem and Upstream were revealed were just as disappointed as you are right now. So there might actually be something to this cards that we aren't seeing at this exact moment. Because Time Leap as a deck wasn't something clear from day one. It took a little bit of time and effort to put the deck together, and that might actually be the case right now with these new cards, and it's now up to us players to figure it out. But that's basically everything for today. As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel, then head over to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a patron today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I see you guys in the next one!